Hello, my name is David Duffy. I am a retired physician, and we're continuing our discussion about healing thoughts. In this lecture, or whatever, we're going to talk about allergies. Let's say that you have hay fever, and in April, you go outside and you start sneezing, you have itchy eyes, you have nasal congestion, you have hay fever. You're given Benadryl to take. It helps the itching, it helps the congestion, but it puts you to sleep. They go to the allergist. He gives you some non-drowsy medicine like Zyrtec or Allegra, but he also recommends that you have some tests. He does a series of skin tests and says, aha, you're allergic to pollen and ragweed and dust and animal dander. Whoa, you have a bad case of allergy. What we're going to do is give you desensitization shots so that we can block the antigens to these. And we're talking about blocking antibodies to the antigens, okay? Long ago, I had a friend who was diabetic, overweight, and full of allergies. When he went to the doctor, same thing. He had a lot of positive reactions. He was allergic to many things. Now, he had a notion that the best way to cure himself, to lose weight and stuff, would be to take grape juice and soak garlic cloves in it so you had garlicized grape juice. So he drank that, and I guess it helped his congestion. But with persistence, he lost a lot of weight, and guess what? His allergies was better. When he went to the allergy specialist and took the test, whoa, he was no longer allergic to all those things. What does that mean? We're talking about the difference between a symptom and the cause of a disease. You know that if you have a magnet, it will stick to the metal refrigerator, but not stick to the plaster wall, not stick with the plastic, not stick with paper, whatever. When we have allergies, you may have a sensitivity to pollen and dust, but it's not going to react unless you have waste material to eliminate. That's what happened with my friend. He cleaned his body out so that when he was exposed to the allergens, he didn't react because there was nothing to come out. Now, let's think how the body works. You have white blood cells called eosinophils, and you have an antibody called IgE. And when the exposure to pollen or animal dander occurs, the IgG is activated and it triggers the release of histamine from mast cells in your body, another one of those blood cells. And the histamine causes fluid to pour out of your blood vessels, and it causes itching, swelling, congestion. That's the mechanism. What the allergist was doing with desensitization shots was turning off the switch to trigger the histamine to activate. When you take Claritin or what is it, Allegra, the body is inhibiting the mast cells from releasing histamine. So it's an antihistamine. Let's talk about another patient. She had allergic rhinitis, asthma, and eczema. Those are all three similar because they're an inflammation that triggers fluid and itching, and in asthma's case, wheezing. She was involved with a group that wanted to stop eating meat and try a vegan diet. Okay. So over a couple of months, she made the sacrifices. She changed her diet. She lost weight. Again, what happened? Her eczema improved, asthma improved, her allergic rhinitis improved. Then her birthday came, and an old friend who hadn't seen her recently sent her a gift basket, including cheese and crackers. She hadn't been eating any cheese on her diet, and she loved cheese, and she couldn't resist it, so she ate the cheese and crackers, and lo and behold, allergies came back, the sinus congestion, the asthma, and the eczema. Why do we cough up and blow our nose with all this phlegm? What is causing the mucus? If you have a tow truck company and you take wrecked cars and bring them back to the place where you wreck them, you get the parts, you sell all the parts, and then you smash them down, and then you sell to a metal recycler, and they go to the mill and are melted into little ingots of metal, pig iron ingots. That's what your body is doing. Your body takes that material, the starch and the protein, and will turn that into a carbohydrate protein substance, a mucopolysaccharide. Okay, what we want to do is remove the material that makes mucus. I alluded to Arnold Ehret in a past lecture, and he had a mucusless diet system. He was eliminating foods that cause mucus. That's what he recognized, and we agree with him. Okay, so now it's the allergy season, and you have a bad case of allergies. What do? Of course, you're going to take the medicine as needed that the doctor prescribed to get some relief so you can sleep and function at work without blowing your nose all the day. But in addition to that, you can change your diet and try to cleanse your body and get rid of the material that was feeding the mucus. If you're in a really bad situation, one way would be to fast for 2 or 3 days on lemon honey drink. Squeeze a lemon into a quart of water, add a little honey or maple syrup or something. We're not want to add white sugar, and drink that instead of eating 2 or maybe 3 meals a day. on a limit, for a day or two. What happens then? A lot of mucus starts pouring out. You're allowing yourself to be really sick to get that mucus out. When you take all the medicine and slow it down, it slows down the elimination of the mucus. By fasting and concentrating on getting the mucus out, we can speed up the healing process. Okay. Now, why do certain people have allergies and others don't? I know a lady with 2 daughters. One is not allergic to things. She tends to gain weight. And another one is thin, but has a lot of itching and allergies. They have 2 different metabolisms. One stores things, and the others gets rid of things. We don't know the metabolism of exactly what happens and how it's stored. But we know that cells in the sinuses and the lungs and in the intestines are geared up to make mucus. So that if we're triggering this, the body is stimulated to pour out the mucus and manufacture mucus, and we're basically using up the ingredients to form mucus to cleanse the body. What kind of foods do we suspect contribute to this? White flour, white sugar, dairy products. A beautiful food to promote that is pizza. Oh, so good. But it's pure starch and protein. And if we're having a problem with that, that is going to contribute to it more. Now, when we want to have a diet that is right for us, we don't know it right. We can't jump right to it. It takes time. We have to explore. We have to see what our body needs. So if we define the starches and the proteins and the dairy products, and we eat X amount, the reasonable thing to do is gradually cut down. Let's get that down to 25% less than we're eating now. Let's get it down to 50% less than we're eating now. And you may find that if you have X over 2, 50%, the allergies are okay. You can handle that much of that food. But if you go over that, you have trouble. So we're going to have to, and we can't say one particular food. And it's not a matter of taking this vitamin and this. We need to look at the whole picture and see the whole pattern in its perspective to know where to adjust and explore. This is research. The doctor will say, it has nothing to do with your food. Take your medicine. But we know from the 2 examples that there's another story here, and it is possible to get reduction in allergy symptoms. Now, in advertising and commercial ideas, we have a person that suddenly is inspired to develop a diet, develop a system that worked for him. So he's going to share it. He's going to tell people you know, this is what to do. Boom, boom, boom. And if you subscribe to my program, I will send you this food and you will get better and all this kind of stuff. And in many times that seems to work, but the person is imposing his solution on other people in a hit and miss way. We don't know if following this is going to help or not. So there are general principles. Now, many of the diets that are available now and commercialized are basically high protein, low carbohydrate diets that trigger burning of fat. And basically, instead of starving yourself and eating nothing, you are eating less of a certain kind of food that shifts your metabolism to burn up the fat. The problem with a high protein, low carbohydrate diet is that it is getting the liver and the kidneys to do more work. If your body always needs sugar, the sugar is necessary for your brain function, for nerve function. If you stop eating carbohydrates, your body has to make carbohydrates by breaking down protein. And that's one of the things that the liver does. It turns protein into sugar. In addition, when you have more protein metabolized, you're going to generate more urea, nitrogen, ammonia, and that's going to put a burden on the kidneys. The kidneys are going to have to do extra work. Both the liver and kidneys do extra work in order to lose weight. Now, if you're a young person and you go through this and in 6 weeks you lost 15, 20 pounds, wonderful, wonderful. But that's not the long-term solution. We need, instead of stopping eating carbohydrates in general, why don't we maintain healthy carbohydrates? What's like that? Fresh fruit has natural sugar in a concentration that is physiological, that is matching your metabolism. When you have a whole grain substance like corn, wheat, brown rice, that is a food that's carbohydrate friendly and usable. It's not highly processed and unusable, leading to extra waste. So we're going to have more, we're going to eliminate the junk food and have more whole food and figure out a reasonable amount of carbohydrates to make you nourish your brain, your muscles, your glands, whatever, and be healthy. I would not recommend garlic in the grape juice. That was his notion. If you discover things that work for you, fine. But the point is, we want you to learn how to figure out your own diet that you can afford, that you can enjoy, and you can stick with. It's not somebody else sticking at you, pushing at you to do their way because it's good for you. It's going to be what you discover is right for you. But there's some problem with that. What? Because it takes work. It takes effort on your part. You're not just being handed. You're not outsourcing your thinking. You have to pay attention to buy the foods that you need. You have to make an effort to prepare them or work with people that do this, will help you. But when we go on a diet and we don't have time to cook, picking up a pizza pie and eating that is not going to work. You have to have the investment in it. And that's a challenge. What I want you to do is identify a problem if it's allergies, and then do something that is reasonable and makes sense to you. Try that out and see what happens. A little change that is sustainable is better than a radical change that can only be done for a short while, and then you revert back to the old way. You know, you can lose 80 pounds in 40 days, guaranteed. No, that's putting a time limit. That's paying a lot of money, and we can take our time. And if we can change to get a low allergy kind of diet over 4 to 6 months or something of working at it a little at a time, that's much better, because what we want to do is discover the best pattern of eating and living that's right for our metabolism. And it's not the same as another person's metabolism. And within the same household, there may have to be alterations in the diet. If one person's diabetic and another person has celiac disease, they're going to have to individualize, and that's fine. Let them do what they need to do. Now, when we have been on a cleansing diet for a while, the circumstances come up, and it's, you can't help it. You're going to eat the food that's not good. Now that's okay. We're going to, if we have been finding that we feel better with a certain diet, we've eliminated a certain food, we can experiment and see what adding that food back in actually does. This is, I mean, technically speaking, it's a planned sin. No, actually, it's an experimental to see what variable is affecting you. Sometimes people have all sorts of notions. They can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. And that's not true. They are told you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. And they believe it, and they're afraid, and they don't make the effort to really prove for themselves what is right for them. Okay. Now, in this process, there is we've mentioned this before. There is a cleansing diet or a non-allergy diet, a strict non-allergy diet. And then there is a point where you have reached your low weight, your ideal weight. And if we starve ourselves more, we're going to lose more weight and get weaker. We're going to deprive our body of foods that we need. So we want to add back certain carbohydrates and certain proteins in an amount that makes sense for our body's needs, but is not excessive, and discover what we call our maintenance diet. Okay? In summary, now we can see, at least from my perspective, that diseases have a purpose. As a matter of fact, God designed the body to heal itself, as we have mentioned before. And so when we get sick and do the research and eliminate certain things and see the reactions, see the cleansing, then we can get back to our ideal diet the best we can and hopefully be healthy. Thank you for joining me. And next time we will take up a concept that may be strange from medical discussion, and that's called repentance. Until then, goodbye.